Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. I am the introverted and out of breath reader, and today's video is gonna be a sort of discussion type video on a particular book that I have recently read. And that is The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. Now, this is not going to be like a stereotypical review from me. Basically what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give my overall thoughts in like a non-spoiler section, and then for the rest of the video is gonna be sort of like a discussion, sort of where I go into details and things that happen within this book. Well, I'm gonna try, because it's been a couple days since I read it, but I have some thoughts on this that I want to discuss. So if you obviously I'm going to give you a heads up when I'm going to talk about spoilers, but when that time comes you can decide for yourself if you want to click off or not. But cheers, here's to you, your health. Okay, so the basics. The basics is that this is the sort of like sequel companion novel to The Spanish Love Deception, which I read in 2021. I want to say, no, 2022. No, 21 going into 22. But anyway, regardless, it's been a while since I read it. And, you know, I really just read that book because I was feeling sad, and it helped me feel happiness, even for a wee short time. And unpopular opinion, I really loved The Spanish Love Deception. I did. I genuinely really liked it. It didn't break me as it has some of you. You know, some of you are a bit over dramatic, but you know, whatever. To each their own. And then whenever this came out, a lot of people were very excited about it. And, you know, and I was quite excited about it, and I wasn't going to get a physical copy. But then I saw it for really cheap in the works. It was like £3 in the works. So I was just like, you know what? It's there. I may as well. And it's only £3. So I got it. And I was excited to read it. But then a lot of even like people that loved the first book said that this wasn't good. They were all like, it's super cringe. It's, you know, the romance doesn't feel like genuine. It feels really awkward. It's just not good. And the main character is really annoying. And I was hearing all these things and I was like, oh dear. Okay, so what it's about. So we're following Rosie, who is our girl Lena's bestie from the first book. They both worked at the engineering firm together. But when this one kicks off, it's been like a couple months, maybe like 6 months since the ending of the first one. And Rosie has quit her job at the engineering firm because she wants to become a romance writer. And you know, she's just sort of trying to navigate her life, trying to figure out, you know, how she's gonna pursue this and whatever. And then on the back of the book, it says, then the ceiling of her New York apartment falls in, which is what happens. And, you know, and she, in a panic, runs to Lena's empty apartment because Lena is away on her honeymoon. So she's all like, Lena's away, she's not gonna mind, it's whatever, I'll just chill there until you know, because it's quite late at night when this happens. It's like almost midnight. So Rosie's just like, listen, I'll go over to Lena's, spend the night there, and then when the sun comes up, I'll figure out my next moves, whatever, okay. So she goes there and she's just chilling, and then someone comes to the apartment. She does not know who this someone is. She doesn't know who this person is because Lena never told her that anybody was going to be at her apartment. So she's immediately thinking, oh no, someone's trying to break in. But then it turns out the person is Lena's cousin Lucas, who has been traveling around because he was a pro surfer. So he was traveling about and he was in America and he was stopping over in New York for a bit. And apparently Lena told him, oh, here, stay at my apartment. I'm not going to be there. Like, chill there till you go back home to Spain. So that's the gist. And then obviously the two of them start their romance from there because They end up sharing Lena's apartment, and then things go from there. Now, my overall thoughts is that I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Unpopular opinion. I really loved this book. I did not find it cringy. I did not find either one of them annoying. I didn't find anything awkward. Like, I'm like, where? Because I went into this with like really low expectations because I was this close to getting rid of it. And then I thought to myself, do you know what? Get over yourself, read the first 100 pages or so and see what happens. And that's what I did. And as soon as I started, I was just like, I'm having a really good time. What are you all talking about? So again, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I gave it 5 stars actually on Goodreads. But if we're being realistic, it's more like a 4.5, if I'm being honest. Mostly because I'll go into the discussion in a wee second, but no spoilers first. Without giving anything away, I'll get into that in a second, but it didn't need to be as long as it was. That's my main critique for it. But to tell you a little bit more, I'd have to go into spoilers, which I'm going to do now. We're going to go into spoiler territory now, folks. That's what's happening. So if you want to read this, then go click off. Or, if you want to read it and you care about spoilers, you can go. If you want to read it and you don't care, stay, go. I'm not your mother. But either way, spoiler alert, don't be coming at me about it. I warned you. Okay, here we go. Now, obviously, it's mentioned that our girl Rosie wants to be a romance writer, right? And in my mind, I'm thinking she just dropped everything because she randomly decided to be a romance writer. Like, what the hell? But apparently, she wrote a whole book, self-published it, and it did really, really well. And whenever that happened, a publisher got in touch with her and offered her a deal, and that was why she quit. So a little bit more context on that. So, because at first I was like, what? You just quit your job like that? You're not going to get a day job? You're not going to have something, to support yourself? But, it's been 6 months, but whatever. And, and she hasn't told, she's really anxious because she's got writer's block, obviously, and she hasn't told her dad that she's quit her job. And she's really scared to tell him because he has been her like constant rock and support her whole life because her mother left her and her dad and her wee brother years ago. Her mum just walked out on them, and the dad worked his fingers to the bone to get her through college and to get her brother and everything through high school, and and she just feels guilty because she doesn't want her dad to be disappointed in her. But then later on, when she finally does tell him, he's actually okay. Like, he's actually like, listen, if you're happy, I'm happy for you. Like, as long as you're happy and as long as you're safe, I'm good. Like, do what makes you happy. And it's just like, you wasted all that time. And you, like, I mean, whatever. I mean, I definitely kind of sympathize with her because you would be feeling that way, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? And, the relief, I suppose, but, but anyway, the romance between her and Lucas, I thought the two of them were so cute. And like, he would speak in Spanish to her sometimes, and like the way she was just like, that is so hot. And I'd be like, do you know what? I'm not even gonna lie, that is. But like, their romance together, like whenever he first shows up, I want to point out, Lena did not tell anyone, not Rosie, not anyone, that Lucas was going to be coming to her apartment to stay. Homegirl is just away in Peru on her honeymoon, humping her husband. Like, that's all she's doing. Like, Lena's kind of a terrible friend. Like, why would you not tell your best friend, like, that someone is going to be staying at your apartment while you're away on your honeymoon? Like, a wee quick text message, or like a phone call or whatever before you leave. Oh, here, by the by, if you ever go by my place, my cousin's staying there. Don't be alarmed. Like, because because Rosie is chilling there, right? It's quite late at night. It's almost midnight. And she just packed up her worldly belongings into carrier bags and a suitcase and is chilling at Lena's, freaking out about her apartment. And someone is at the front door trying to break in. That's not funny. Like, I'm hearing people rolling their eyes and being all like, how could you not, blah, blah, blah. Like, why is she so dumb? Why'd she call the police? You would call the police in that situation. You would. That happened to my auntie before. That's not a joke. Like, the person never got in, thank God. But, you know, my auntie did end up having to call the police. Like, it's not a joke. Like, when you're a woman by yourself in your apartment and you hear someone trying to get into your door, you would be freaking out. You would immediately want to call the police and be all like, come save me, I'm a woman living alone, come help me. Like, you know, she didn't know because Lena is an awful friend and never mentioned it. I mean, I don't really know what reason Rosie would have to go to Lena's apartment. Like, maybe, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe she wanted to clean it up, or like maybe because she's a good best friend, maybe she, you know, thought to herself, oh, here, I'll make sure Lena's apartment's all ready for when she gets home or whatever. Like, would you not tell your best friend that your cousin is coming to stay? Like, right, whatever. So anyway, that night when Lucas comes and, you know, Rosie calms down, she realizes it's him. She's like, oh my goodness, I've been stalking him on Instagram for a while now. He's so hot. I have a crush on him. This is so awkward. And, you know, and then eventually he leaves because he's all like, oh, I'll go find like a hotel or somewhere to stay the night. You know, I'm sorry I freaked you out. You stay here. I'll be the gentleman and find somewhere else. And then obviously, you know, things go on. And then she tells him about her book. And she's all like, because I haven't been in the dating game for a really long time, and she's kind of in a rut in her life, you know, in her mind and just in her heart. Like, she's in like a real lull. And, you know, and then Lucas is the one who's like, well, why don't you experiment with me? Like, we'll go on a few dates. I'll pile on the romance. And, you know, you can maybe try and get back into the swing of things again. And then it'll give you a spark of an idea that could lead you to help her to write your book. And like, that's what they do. But obviously Rosie is head over heels for Lucas, and it's clear as day, you know, from very early on that Lucas starts to feel some things for Rosie, and feelings develop and whatever. And I mentioned I do have a few critiques about this. One, it didn't need to be as long. And two, you know, it didn't need to be as long because nothing really happens between them. Like, they have a few steamy moments, and there's like a little moment in a bathroom stall. And, you know, nothing really starts to happen between them until we're maybe like, oh, I don't know, maybe like this much away from the end, you know, like. And I do really believe that she didn't need to stretch it out as long. Like, the slow burn didn't need to be as slow, in my opinion. Like, Elena, Armas, like, if you're going to be writing any more books, love, please, they don't need to be so long. You know, the slow burn doesn't need to be, like, it's not even a burn. It was more like a low simmer. It was like she put it on and then just like turned it up like the lowest heat possible and just let it simmer. And then at the end, it just went boom. You know, like, it doesn't need to be that every single time, you know, like, okay, so another critique that I probably do have is Rosie's brother. Rosie's brother. Why? Because it's mentioned that she hasn't heard from her brother. He hasn't gotten in touch with her or her dad. He keeps promising he's going to come and visit the dad, but he never does. And it turns out he's been working as a stripper. I suppose nothing wrong with that. I mean, he's 19. And if this was set in the UK, he would be legally an adult. But obviously it's in America. And I know that in America, a 19 is a minor. Like, I get that. And if someone was ogling at my wee brother like that in a club, I would be feeling a little bit like, you know, like, don't be doing that. And it's really vague, the reasons as to why. Like, it's mentioned that there was a girl involved, and it's like she just glossed over the whole thing. And then Rosie and Lucas go and get him at the club and bring him home, and then that's it. Like, she doesn't have Rosie doesn't sit down and have a conversation with him being like, listen, I know last night was a bit of a blur, so why don't you just like tell me the like like the brother wasn't given any character development whatsoever. He was just there to be her brother, and you know, to like make that make sense. So, but like I said, I did thoroughly enjoy my time reading this. I thought it was really romantic. I thought it was really cute. I thought it was really sweet. You know, I thought like there's this scene where on one of their dates, he takes her to a record shop and she reminisces because her dad used to do that for her before her mom left. And he was like, pick out a record and I'll buy it for you. And she's like, okay, bit of pressure. And she ends up buying Dancing Queen by ABBA, which is an anthem for women everywhere. Like, yes. And he's all like, it's a bit like, it's not really like first date, it's more like girls' night out. And she goes into this whole tirade. She's all like, how dare you? Like, this is like a Meryl Streep's big crowning moment in the iconic movie Mamma Mia, and you're just gonna piddle all over it? Excuse you, sir, have several seats. And I'm like, yes. Let him know. And they take it back to the apartment and stick it on, and they're dancing around the apartment, singing their lungs out to Dancing Queen. And I'm like, oh my god, me. Like, I don't have anybody to do that with. I just do it on my own. But like, yes, me. Like, all of their dates were just so lovely. And I mean, both of them were really frustrating in that they just wouldn't admit their feelings for each other. It was the same in the first one. Because in the first one, it was so obvious that the two of them were, like, into each other. And Lena? Again, Lena from the first one, bad friend. And then she phones Rosie and she's all like, oh, bestie, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you that my cousin was coming. Like, oh, forgive me, you're still my BFF, right? And it's like, you're meant to be a grown-ass woman in your 30s. Why are you talking like you are 17 in high school? Like... Again, like, why didn't you tell her that he was going to be staying? Why didn't you just, like, not even for the reason if maybe she was going to go to the apartment, maybe just dropping her a text being like, oh, hey, my cousin's going to be staying at my place. You know, go see him if you want, you know, like, check in on him, make sure he's all right, blah, blah, blah. And she doesn't want to encourage the two of them to be together because in Lena's words, like, Lucas Juju? What the hell is that? Like, are you insinuating that your cousin's not a good person? It was literally as if she was trying to warn her off. And it's like, yes, so he hasn't been in a serious relationship. Does that mean that he's a jinx? No. Does it mean he's a bad person? No. It just means that he hasn't found anybody that he's been willing to commit to. And Rosie ended up being that person. So it's like, shut the F up. Like, anyway, I've rambled on long enough. If you've read this, let me know your thoughts. Obviously, if you want to discuss something in detail, let everybody know in the comments that you're gonna leave spoilers or whatever in the comments, because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But those are my overall thoughts. 4.5 stars. I have no regrets whatsoever. Unpopular opinion, but I don't care. Like, that's why you subscribe, isn't it? You subscribe for my unpopular opinion. That's why you guys love me. Anyway. That is it for this discussion video on this book. I hope you're all having a good day. My socials are down below as always. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow me there if you wish. And also please consider subscribing because I would love to get to 300 subscribers. That would be amazing. So yes, I love yous and leave yous. Have a good day. Peace out, homies.